Usually before starting a maquette, I'll start exploring my ideas first on paper with drawings and sketches. As I said in my intro, the subject matter I want to explore today is the harpy from Greek mythology. Traditionally, harpies in Greek mythology were creatures that had the head, neck, shoulders, and breasts of women, but the body of a vulture or an eagle. And they were generally these evil, wicked characters with miserable dispositions that the gods tended to use to torment mortals with. For today, what I want to do is explore how I can take that basic guideline and do something different with it. And how do you do something different with such a traditional subject? Well, to start off with, I've never been a big fan of the way most Greek monsters are portrayed in art. They tend to be just two or more animals sort of chopped up and pasted together in a very obvious way. And I think that to do something different, one thing that is really worth trying is to blend the two or more components in as much as possible. In this case, I decided to try to blend the elements of a vulture with elements of an old woman together, and that's actually, if you think about it, there's certainly a way you can make that a good fit. If you look at a very old woman who's all skin and bone, and perhaps with a sour expression on her face, you could easily translate that to a vulture-like creature. Maybe she's got bony hands that, with just a little bit of imagination, can be stretched into like talons. That skinny, bony neck could be like the crooked, long neck of a vulture. And maybe she's wearing a shawl that looks like it's made of feathers, and the way it's draped about her shoulders kind of suggests the look of a vulture. So in my drawing here, I've done those things, and I've also sort of given it this hair that is loosely based on the feathers on a griffin vulture's head, a little bit like the head feathers of a harpy eagle. There's nods to all kinds of different things throughout the design. For instance, the long pendulous earlobes are sort of based on tales and descriptions of wild women and hags from folklore. Things like that, like references to mythology or folklore or literature or arts, are very useful things to work into a design, as much as referencing the world of nature. If I was doing this design for a movie, or if I was doing it for myself, I would try very hard not to reference anything in pop culture. Another key thing I try to do is to distort form so far to the point where it almost becomes a ridiculous farce, but at the very last second, pulling it over the brink of failure, and just having it sit there sort of teetering between working and not working. But it gives it a little bit of tension that I feel gives your design and character a little bit of punch, a little bit of uneasiness, and that does help to keep things alive. This drawing is really just a starting point. As I sculpt, I'm going to be doing a lot of exploration and looking for new things I didn't think of when I did the drawing. It's important for me not to be too tied down to anything. Certain things might work better in the drawing that don't work as well when you actually go to sculpt it, and I like to leave room in case I think of anything better while I'm working in the clay. And that does help to keep things spontaneous, and it keeps me excited in the project. And your level of enthusiasm really does come through in the final result, so it's important to keep that alive. So with this drawing done, the next stage is to build an armature based on the drawing and start claying it up and doing the maquette.